ever since I can remember, I've always just loved cars, anything automotive really. Pictures out of magazines, making collages on the walls, and I just loved everything about cars. The big poster in my room when I was a kid was Ferrari F40. I can still remember the reg and see it now. So, and yeah, all I wanted to do was drive really and get to that age of 17, get behind the wheel. My name's Matt, and I drive a 1995 TVR Chimaera 400. Before I was born, my dad bought an MG GT V8. It's a car he's still got to this day, and he ran it as his daily car, until he retired. So all through my youth, even to my 20s and 30s, he was still running that car, and it's had a big influence on me. Just absolutely fantastic memories of that car. Growing up, almost kind of strange in a way, my dad was, although he owned an MG, he was never much of a tinkerer in the garage, but I kind of knew if I wanted to run some slightly interesting cars or classics, I was going to have to sort of get the spanners out really and learn my own way. And it certainly, pays dividends with TVR. They've got a bit of a reputation, most of it is pretty unjust, but they do need regular sort of maintenance and tweaks here and there, so yeah, it's handy to be able to do that and work on the cars myself. TVRs, they've always been on my radar really since I guess my early teens. Chimaera and the Griffith were around then. They just looked different. They were smooth and had the sound and kind of ears pricked up walking down the pavement, and one would go by and just think that thing sounds amazing. When I was about 15, I had a sort of weekend holiday job. I just remember one day my boss, pretty much unbeknown to me, that he'd gone to TVR, and he rocked up in this bright blue, brand new TVR Chimaera, just absolutely amazing. And from that moment on, I remember just thinking I need to get out in that car. But as a 15-year-old, you've got to kind of pluck up the courage to ask for that ride. But eventually, I got a ride in it, and still to this day, I could tell you exactly where we went. I could tell you exactly where he pulled up, where he parked that day. It still sticks with me. So many years later, I was fortunate enough to be able to borrow that very same TVR to use as my wedding car. I literally drove myself to my wedding in that bright blue TVR, which was an absolutely fantastic experience. My TVR is quite an early 400. TVRs of that age, or any TVRs for that matter, they don't have many driver aids. That's kind of what they're known for. Pretty much, I think the only option was power assisted steering on those Chimaeras, but I knew that was something, the sort of research that I'd done, that I didn't want. I just wanted a non-power assisted car to just make sure you get all that feel and just a real back to basics driving experience. The key reason I wanted a TVR was just for that real experience. You hear it all the time, it's an event, it's an experience, but it really is. From the moment you hear the fuel pump prime and then fire the engine up, start getting off down the road, it's just the noise, the smells, everything you're feeling, it's just sensations. The experience is quite overwhelming, really can be, and people generally love it. It's a nice feeling to have people sticking their thumbs up and wanting you to rev the engine a bit and all that sort of stuff. It's a pretty feel-good car for me, I just love it. People say don't meet your heroes, but it's everything that I can remember it being when I was a kid, from going out in that Chimaera, and everything that I kind of wanted the ownership experience to be. I kind of thought that I'd never get the opportunity to own a TVR, so having my Chimaera now, it's just kind of dream come true really. I've ticked that box, and it'll just be whatever happens in the future, to know that I've owned a TVR Chimaera is just fantastic, and there's some great memories there already.